a Lego City update. In today's update, we're going to be looking at all of our transportation. Now, some of the different things in the city of Scottsdale that are currently used for transport are the cars, which I don't like very much because they clutter up the streets. We have trains, which I have personal bias to trains because I've always liked trains. And then we also have hot air balloons, bicycles, or eventually, hopefully, a trolley line. But as I can't put the trolley line in, bicycles are expensive, and hot air balloons are quite large and brick intensive, we'll just focus on the cars and the trains. So today we'll be adding, hopefully, a few cars, and then we'll be completely redoing the freight train, allowing me to have a freight train of my more custom design. So let's go over to the city and see where we are. Over here in Scottsdale, we'll first come look at the train, which we can see is the stock standard train that you just buy as the freight set. We of course have the green electric locomotive, the container car, of which I have 4 more containers provided by a different set. There's a crane and a log car. I have built a passenger car, which is good. And then way over there at my desk is a small steampunk locomotive. Today, however, we're just going to be focusing here on the freight train and the passenger car. Hopefully able to turn this train into a better passenger car, this log car maybe into a box car or something else, and then we'll just see how everything else goes. Back over here at my desk, you can see that I've done a little bit of prep work for the train. I've taken off all of the crane parts on the top and all of the log car parts on the top of this car, so that then we can go on building what I want to build. First, let's start with the repurposed log car carriage, or underframe at this point. So this is now going to turn into a caboose, so that then we can have a caboose on the end of our train, where it belongs. Next, this is actually going to be our passenger car, so that we can have a passenger car and we can service the train station over in Scottsdale. This car I'm going to keep the same because I have more of these boxes and I like these boxes. However, this locomotive I'm actually going to be extending a little bit, making taller, just larger in general, so that it will fit the scale of the rest of the train. So, let's see. I guess let's start with the passenger car. So I'll clear everything else out, including all of the stuff from the backs and tops of the cars, which is over here, and then we can start building the passenger car. Here is the passenger car. As you can see, it is longer than the previous car. However, it is the same width, just because I like 7 wide passenger cars, and there's no reason for them not to be. If we take off the gray and black roof, we can see that on the inside there are 6 seats and 3 sets of 2 corresponding to each window. There's one here, one there, and one there, of course, for the windows. These are actually offset from the wall by half a step, just so that minifigures have room for their arms, and there's also more space usage since I wouldn't be able to fit another row of seats in. It's split 50-50 between the seats and the aisles so that minifigs can walk, and it, in my opinion at least, looks like an actual train car. If I put the roof back on, my brain was about to say lid, and I was just like, no, that's the wrong word. If we put the roof back on, we can see that down at the bottom, I also have the undercarriage of the car. We, of course, have the bogies. We have some doors, or what's supposed to be doors. And then my favorite thing, which is how the windows, being built sideways, are held in on both ends, one by a brick that has one by a snot brick, and then one by a headlight brick. So now let's move on to building the caboose. This is the caboose. I was, of course, planning to do it as a time-lapse. I believe that you guys even heard me say that I was going to do it as a time-lapse when I last recorded a clip. However, because doing a time-lapse would require me to unbuild and then rebuild this entire caboose, I just wasn't up to it. I just can't. Like, a time-lapse of me building or doing things normally is fine. But a time-lapse where I unbuild this so that on camera it looks like it's being built, because that's how you would have to do it, of course, that's just not plausible. But let's go over to Scottsdale so that we can see how these run, and then we can also see how many vehicles we might need to make so that we can fill out some of the roads. You can now see that the train is going very nicely around all of these curves and around the rest of the track. Unfortunately, the batteries are a little bit dead and used, so it's going to go like this, and I'm not going to replace the batteries for now. If we come over to the station, you can see that the passenger car and caboose will clear it just fine. Yeah, they clear it just fine, and they look very nice, like an actual train going around the city. So I think that is very good as far as the railroad goes. Now over here in the downtown section, where cars are, for now, still permitted to drive around, we have two roads. This road over here that we have to put some cars in, and then this road over here. I'm thinking maybe 1, 2 small cars. There's already a car over there. There's a car over here. And maybe one more small car over there, so that then the streets aren't cluttered, but they're also not barrenly empty as we see now. So let's go see what I've designed for the bases of these cars. Now we are back over at my desk, and we can see 3 different cars. The first one is going to be a white Ford Mustang, kind of, loosely inspired by a Ford Mustang, white convertible. I don't know what year, but loosely inspired, so it doesn't really matter. This is what it's looking like so far. It's just going to be somewhere around town. We'll have a big black car, which is kind of like the mob boss type of car, if you can imagine, with all of the tinted windows here in the front laid out. And then we'll have the small red sports car, which, if I slowly pick up, you can see we have some of the windows, we have the black details, etc. So I'll get to work on these, and then we can go see how they fit into the city. Over here in the downtown of Scottsdale, we can see that I have now built those 3 cars. Starting with the white convertible, this is the back of the car. And yes, it is driven by a driver, as you would expect. However, Mr. and Mrs. May also have a car, so we can't really say anything about any of that. Here is a partial view of the front, and as you can see, it is very much a convertible. The next car is what was the mob boss car. This is black with a very nice gray front. Ooh, that window is very bright. Let me try that. Yeah, now that you can see the front of the car, it looks very, very nice. Let me give you a view of the back of the car, which is right there. That was my finger. But yes, this is the back of the car. As you can see, it also looks very nice. Finally, we have the red mini sports car. Let me walk over here, and we can see that it is indeed only 4 studs wide, 6 if you count the fenders and rear view mirrors, but this is what it looks like from the side. From the front, it halfway looks like an old English car just because it has this sloping front plate. But oh well. Also, I noticed over by the school, the marching band seems to be practicing. I don't know, maybe they're practicing the music for the parade, which is only a month away after all. But I guess we'll have to leave them to it and go in the video. Back over here at my desk, I have a couple more things before we end the video. The first is why the episode is called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, when it doesn't include any planes. Well, I wanted it to sound nice, so I put planes in there. However, I just didn't have the time to include the planes. Here are my 2 custom planes. This one is a modified mail plane, and this is a passenger airliner, by the way. But I also, frankly, just forgot about these since they live in a storage drawer, and I don't have anywhere to display them. The second thing that we have to do before ending the video is the before and the after. So here is that, and then we'll end the video. Now that I have finished transforming some parts of the train and we've built some new vehicles, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed and have a wonderful day. Goodbye!